G'day everyone, James McIntyre here again. Today I'm going to talk to you about custom personas. People keep saying to me, hey James, you keep talking about these personas, but I get sick and tired of copying them and pasting them all the time, especially when I'm asking it questions about, if you're a marketing person, about marketing questions, or an IT person about IT related questions. So I've got you covered, follow me along and I'll show you what to do. So we previously mentioned in last week's video about prompts and how important it was. So you have to get the most out of talking with Sheldon, talking with an LLM. Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. It's got a bit of an attitude and it's also a little bit got some Asperger's. So you have to talk to it in a very certain way to get the best information that you can from it. So we start off with a context. So you're a sports director. And so what is it specifically I want you to do? I want you to create this 6-week schedule and here's the name of all of the teams. What's the internal goal? Well, we've got some pretty big constraints, so we need to make sure that we don't go outside of the schedule. And then the format, I need it to make sure that there's no overlapping games and so on. Now, if you're going to use you and the way that you work all of the time, I would really suggest that you use Persona Crafter here. This was a custom GPT that I developed. You click on the link, I'll have it linked below as well, and it will take you straight there. And so what that will do is that will start asking you questions so that you'll be able to zero in on something that you want to focus in on. So where does that go? So if you go down here and click on your logo, I'll say customize GPT. And so then I've got this here and it says, here's my name, my work address, here's my job, where I work, we're a non-profit, and so on. And then I go through and I just sort of say, here's the things I want you to focus on. I head up the AI collaborative. I'm interested in artificial intelligence, finding ways that we can use it ethically to benefit humanity. And then I go through and sort of say, here is the way that I want you to give me information back. And so that's where you would say, I really would like a lot of prose, or I just want bullet points, or unless otherwise stated, I want somewhere between the two. So what this does is, like, suppose that you're in marketing. So I am a marketing person in the YMCA in Cincinnati. It is a non-profit. And then what it will do is this will now tell you everything that ChatGPT assumes about you. And so it says, here are some things, because those are the two questions for the custom instructions. So the first question is, what do you want ChatGPT to know about you so that it can give you better responses? And then the second question is, how would you like it to respond? And so then this one here also includes, because I programmed it to, these fine-tuning questions, so that if ChatGPT will be there and says, if you just give me this little bit extra piece of information, I'll be able to give you much better responses. So as an example, I'll say, can you describe the primary demographics of the community that you serve? What specific types of programs or events are most popular? Are there particular challenges you face with marketing efforts? So I'll say challenge is finances. We need a little money to go a long way. Are there any upcoming events or initiatives you want to focus on? What digital tools and platforms do you primarily use for marketing? So I'll say Facebook and other social media. How do you currently gather feedback from community about your programs and services? I say feedback is by surveys. And so then what this will do is it will come up with something that's even a little bit more refined. And so what I'll do is I'll just pretend that this is good enough, but you can keep going back and forth and asking it, answering its questions for like 10, 12, 15 times to get everything really, really, really laser focused. And so this would be something that would work quite well and would give much better responses than if you just asked regular ChatGPT. And so you can change between these different GPTs by just clicking on the side here. And so the Wine Whisperer is something I've got that helps with food and wine pairings. And the unique part about it is that it will talk about the different sauces and herbs that go with that, which you would never just get by sort of saying, hey, what wine goes with this? So that's one of my little favorites. Now, another thing that works really well is that as ChatGPT comes up with new features, so now you can use with 4.0, you can use photographs. Now I can take a photograph of a wine bottle and just upload that. And since the Wine Whisperer knows exactly what I want, food and wine pairings, tell me a little bit of the history of the wine, tell me about what else goes with it and what herbs and sauces to use with each particular wine. I can just take a photograph of that and it will tell me what food should go with it. So as they add new features, these things just get more and more powerful. Another one that I use quite frequently is Video Tutor. And what this one does is it goes out through an API and it summarizes videos. So as an example, this one here with the CEO of Google, or the former CEO of Google, sorry, Eric Schmidt, has got a conversation about where he thinks AI will go. And so what we can do is we can just be there. I don't have to say anything, summarize this video or anything, because it knows it's a custom GPT. It's just going to summarize the videos. So it goes through and it will take a few seconds. And then after it goes through, it will give us a very detailed thing. Now, this works with something that's a 20-minute video. It works with something that's a 4-hour video. And so then what it can also do is it can give you a diagram of what's going on. You can ask it to give you questions and answers to see how well you understand it. So if you're studying something, and so I can just put in brackets D, and I'll just come up with a diagram just so that you can see that this comes up with like a very in-depth diagram of what was spoken about. Now, can you imagine if that was a lecture for 3 or 4 hours or something that you were doing? I mean, it's quite good. And so here's what they've got. You can download the diagram. And there you go. So, I mean, it's this type of stuff is really, really useful. We're working on a custom GPT for youth development. So it's got the description here. It talks about we want it to attract and support staff using evidence-informed positive youth development strategies. What's your primary goal? To basically work with people, with youth development professionals, particularly those in YMCA programs. What do we want you to do? We want you to be an expert in these things, want mastery in program quality and so on, making sure that you're aligned with YMCA standards. Where do we want you to get your information from? Lean heavily upon these curated places where we know that you've indexed them and we know that we trust these sources. Make sure that there's ethical and safety considerations. Make sure that you have diverse and inclusive youth development strategy. And in here, you would also want to put things such as the mission statement. Our values are also in here as well. We're also very big about making sure that we're prioritizing child abuse prevention in the YMCA. And so that's mentioned in here several times, as well as child protection. So you can see that you can start to build these custom tools. And once you build those custom tools, then it will get answers that are very, very, very precise, tuned just to you. And so as you can see, it's quite easy to switch from one to another and just get your work done. So I'm hoping that this gives you a little bit of an insight about some things that can make your job a lot easier. To create the custom GPTs, you have to have a paid version. So I'm hoping that you will be able to at least, because it's for free, go in and customize your instructions so that you'll get much more precise answers. And then if you've got a paid version, I hope that you'll create a few custom GPTs to make your life easier. So I'm hoping that this will give you some ideas about how to utilize some of these things better. And remember, things are moving really, really quickly. So you've got to be there and just catch the lightning. So anyway, I'm James McIntyre. I'm your AI guide. And until next time, be good to yourself. Thanks very much.